wanna wake up with regret inside my lungs. I don't wanna wake up with sadness on my tongue. Only got one life to live. I can't let this slip.
So it's interesting. We kind of talked on this off camera that usually when there's something that has to come out for me, it accidentally, on purpose, somehow comes out during a prayer meditation to where I'll say a buzzword and it will trigger me into a massive cry fest. And I'll give you one example.
Unworthiness was it for me. Worthiness.
When we were when we were asked to manifest, what you wanted, I was told I wasn't thinking big enough. I was just saying, oh, can the channel just be more popular, blah, blah, blah. And I was just being real generic. So it's like, no, you need to specifically state what you want. And so I was in prayer meditation and I started talking about it. I started talking about, okay, I really need someone that's XYZ. And I started being specific. And
you're talking about like a
partner.
A partner?
Yeah. So this
Remember
is how
I told you that's what I was guided to do. I had 2 pages of specific things I wanted.
So so when I started crying, I said, all right, here goes it. I want to open an education center.
There you go.
For children, specifically, to get them unplugged from the matrix and their mobile devices as children.
Yep.
To get them to connect with the Mother Nature and Spirit.
Yep.
I want to do this through the channel, though. I want Aquascaping on the Fly to be a store. And I saw a 3D, I saw a third eye vision at the time. Mm-hmm. I could see the name, and then I saw 4 lighted names under it. And it had like something hobbyist, blah, 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 blah. And I saw the storefront. So it's brick, and it's full floor-to-ceiling windows. And in the entrance, there are all these workstations where you can have sand in them and chairs and stools, and people can set them up as a dojo for the aquarium hobby. Or you could build a terrarium there. And then the cash wrap was in the back of the section, but there are these rooms that you went off into, like there was a fish room. There was the room for this kind of supplies. There was other supplies back here. And I saw my niece and my nephew working the store. And I said, after I said education center, it needs to be a storefront. I saw the storefront and I started bawling. I mean, I just could not stop crying. I said, oh my God, I think I've had my epiphany. I think what I want is a storefront. And I want the channel to be a beacon of light and knowledge to help people. I want to bring about this change, but I specifically want to work with kids to get them young enough and to get them to unplug. Because the rule will be turn your freaking phones off while you're in this space. And
leave them at the door in the basket or whatever, or a locker or whatever.
And I could see going on field trips in nature to see look what Mother Nature gives you, and get them exposed or whatever. And then it went beyond that. I said, okay, well, if I'm going to get that, I need a partner that's business savvy, that's got access to money, because I'm going to need funding for a store.
Yep.
And I'm outgrowing.
That's where the masculine comes in. The divine masculine comes in.
Yes. So that's wrapping that. And then I said, okay, well, you know what? I'm about to get maxed out on space, and I won't be able to room for any more tanks. So guess what? I need a house. I said, so I either need a house that's by the store, or I need a studio with the house where I can still do my filming and do my builds, however that works out. I'll leave that up to you guys. And then I kept on going. And I said, I want to create something for my entire family. So the next day, I'm out in nature and I had a third eye vision. And it was for a line of t-shirts. I told you one of my nieces is a lesbian. She's an adult. And so this is what they sent to me. So, okay, take it however it resonates, as everyone always says, as Molly always says, take it how it resonates.
Right.
I saw an image and it said, don't look a gift blank in the mouth.
Horse again. Oh my God.
No, not
I know,
horse.
but the regular saying goes.
Yes. Okay.
Which I think is funny because the horse thing is coming up again.
Okay, so
I think that's funny.
A rooster. The rooster is a drawing of a baby rooster that's trying to crow but can't.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's funny. And so I get this, I'm getting the download in my brain. And then I started thinking of all the animals you could put in its place with different sayings. And so I thought, oh, okay, there's a business for my niece. Okay. Oh, I think I need to open, and here it comes right after it. Oh, maybe a line of spiritual candles with the stuff I get from Goodwill that my other niece can buy. She can run those. Okay, we'll do that. We'll have 2 things in. And so then the next day in prayer meditation, I'm like, all right, now we got more to add. Okay, now we need a t-shirt line and we need a candle line.
Yep.
And we want original artwork, which is another niece of mine that is an artist. Okay, cool. So now this is the new vision now, and it just evolved like that. But every time I would say the store name or being an education center, I would just burst out into a heavy cry fest. And then that started happening with anything that was going to come out that was really, truly something at my essence or my core that needed to be manifested out. And it just started happening. And so I just started going with it. I'm like, okay, now to the point where when Molly has a video, I just open my channel, myself up, and my angels, and we all get ready. And I'm like, okay, I'll do my thing. And then I'll put her on pause. And I'm like, okay, she just said this. You guys heard it. And then we start talking about whatever it is that resonates for me. So literally my prayer sessions have turned into like 2 hours of me just commenting on what's just happened during a reading that we're listening to. And I'm giving my immediate feedback. And then of course I give them the option of coming in so they can meet me and see how I live and look at the tanks to make sure they're okay and healthy. And so it's just evolved into this thing where I do this maybe 3 times a day. And if I miss something, if I miss a session, it really affects me. I mean, I'm really like, I've got to talk to my spirits because that's part of who I am now. It's my routine. And it's just like, second nature. But the reason why I asked you what people think about this is that when I came out to my family, this is how I said it. I show up, everyone's there, we're going to have a barbecue. And I'm like, look, I got something to tell you. I'm really spiritual. And then I just went from there and I said, the new me does not apologize. And I speak my truth, and my truth is in the light. Yep. I said, so if you don't like it, there's
the door.
We ain't going, right. I said, they're not going back. And I'm trying to work with my sister. She won't watch this, thank God. So I can talk about her. She's died twice from operations twice.
Wow.
And she did not go to the happy place. She went to the dark place where people are grabbing her, and she was terrified both times. So I think it was about a month ago, I sat down with her and I said, she's been wanting me to do a tarot reading, and I've been pushing it off because I'm like, I really don't want to because it may be negative and you don't need to probably hear that. And so, no, she still wants to hear it. And I said,
you're judging it. So your ego's judging it. You have no idea what message she needs to hear.
I know. So I told
I know. I did the same thing.
I told you this. I said, I don't like your energy where you live and you're too negative. I said, I like to do readings where it's neutral, where I'm outside or I'm in my space, where I know it's quiet and safe. Where she lives is in a community of public housing where lots of people have died. And she knows there's a lot of residual energy there. She's had a lot of visitors come in through her units. That she's lived at 3 different units in the same complex, and they're all over the place there. And I told her, I said, I don't think this is going to be a very good space for the energy because there's so much negativity. And my sister is a very negative person. person. If anything's going to go wrong, it will go wrong. That's her first point. And so I'm trying to get her to look at things from another standpoint and to find the root cause of this.
Right.
And you've already touched on it, which I won't tell her story because it's not mine, like you say. But she has trauma from when she was 15 and what she went through, and it caused her to get into drugs at that age. So she's had an entire lifetime of doing what my parents said to do, denying what was good for her. And as a result, her and my two nieces were badly, badly damaged. I can say that. Yeah. And so, yeah, I will do a reading for her, but I'm afraid that she's going to be contrary to whatever I come up with, because she thinks she's good with God, but her last episode where she died again, it was the same experience as she had before. It was blackness, and there were people pulling at her, and she could feel pain. And I said, that's not a good sign. That doesn't tell me you're going to a happy place.
Yeah. And that's just a place, again, that the ego mind, because it manifests whatever it is that you obviously they're there to show you something. And I do believe that a lot of people do experience the hell when they do have a near life, near what they call a near death experience, where they actually do, technically clinically die for a period of time, and then they come back and they have, all these experiences they talk about. But not everybody has them, and some people have talked to God and talked to Jesus on the other side, and they there's no hell, whatever. So again, I do think it's specific to the individual and what they believe at the time that they cross over in their mind, their beliefs, their self-limiting beliefs, whatever their structure that they were brought up in or whatever.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because
is what they manifest. Because you still manifest. You're a co-creator. What
you just hit it on the head.
You're going to manifest that. So, and obviously your soul needed to go through that for a reason.
Right.
So
you just hit it on the head, though, because you said we manifest it. Because you and I both don't agree. We both agree it's here.
Thoughts, words, actions, everything manifest. And your belief systems are your thoughts. Even if they're subconscious, like behind the scenes programs, it's still a form of thought and belief about yourself, on that ego level. So again, you're manifesting that. And at the time of crossing over, she's almost like, she's not fully crossed over. She's in like an earthbound state. And it's really weird. It's like a different dimension earthbound. And that's the way I'm kind of like trying to figure out how to explain it. But it's not here earthwide. You ever heard of like the earthbound spirits that get stuck here, and then people like talk them into crossing over into the light, right?
Right.
It's kind of like that, like an astral realm, but it's a place where people get manifested into because they believe in hell and some subconscious level or conscious level. They create that, they go there where those other people have created that, and they create that experience for themselves. But it helps catalyze them at some point. Their soul needed to experience that. So hopefully, she'll work through her problems and her toxic patterns and work past that. But that's a fear. It's a fear. I had that fear as a child. But for some reason, I knew there was something else within me. My intuition was telling me something's wrong here. It doesn't add up. Look at it again. Like kept telling me a loving God would not send people that don't even know the word to hell. Like it was messing with me. Why is my brain telling me they're telling me a different story? And I'm like 10 and 12 years old, like in confirmation class, going through confirmation class. I questioned the pastor on these things. Like I was already questioning these things. And I still, even though he gave me those answers, I still didn't believe it. I just went along with it. And I was like, okay, well, if you say so, whatever. But it always was there working in the background, like the conflict. My intuition knew the truth. My soul knew the truth. And I knew there was something wrong with what was in the Bible. And again, the Bible is translated by humans. They manipulated the translations. They added things in there. And they took things out of whatever the Jewish Bible they had at the time that was together. And now we've got Dead Sea Scrolls, and we got other things coming up, Book of Enoch, that conflicts with a lot of the writings. And a lot of the writings are from Paul. Go to figure, right? So I could not reconcile the Old Testament and the New Testament. I'm like, this is like two different beings right here. Like this is two different, it doesn't add up.
Right.
And, I just kept questioning it until I finally started discovering the truth for myself. And it's really like everybody's got to go through that. At some point they've got to start questioning every single thing that they've been taught by society, by schools, the government, their family, their religion. That's what we're all being called to question now. We need to question every single belief that we have. And it's all controlling us on some level, consciously or subconsciously. And we've got to break those down one by one, go through the ego death one by one, of believing,
Yeah.
getting past the illusion, seeing the truth for what it is, moving to the next one, and that's hard. It's a constant
Yeah.
cycle. We go through ego death, whatever, rebirth, the phoenix rising again. And that's what we're being called to do right now. And everybody's starting to do it. I'm starting to see people, like I said, at work I work with, coworkers. I'm starting to come across people that haven't gone through, all of a sudden they're going through these crazy events, shower moments, um, calling, people in their life, like getting toxic people out. They're all going through it. And I love seeing
Yeah.
that evolution over especially the last 10 years. It's accelerated because of the work we're doing. So
Yeah.
just know that there's light
I
at the end
think
of the tunnel. We're doing the work we came here to do, and that
I think it's
everything is going to turn out the way
amazing.
it's supposed to. So
I think it's amazing though that you have people around you you can see this with, which is amazing confirmation. I
yeah.
mean, that's the best you can get.
I didn't believe in that. I really didn't believe that I would have that kind of effect. Again, a self-limiting belief.
Right.
But I didn't know who I was at the time. I didn't know, even 3 years ago when I first started on this journey and learning about, I didn't know who I was and what I came here to do. I just knew I love to help people and assist people.
Right.
And I had a thing for teaching, but I never felt like I wanted to go in the school system or be a teacher like that. It was all intuitive. I was
Yeah.
always a very good teacher at explaining things and demonstrating. Again, it was all demonstrating things to people. I show people in person through action.
Yeah.
That's the best way I teach things. And here I am doing that on a podcast.
Right.
And
Well,
what's really funny is the biggest fear I had in school was public speaking. And they usually say the
really.
biggest fear is usually your life purpose. I
Yeah.
had the
Okay. Well,
biggest fear of public speaking. I did not want to get up and sing in the church choir. And I was meant to sing a solo at 12, my first solo. I was freaking out, again, I was always put on a stage and I was shrinking, like
yeah.
I didn't want to be on a stage. I closed my eyes and imagined somewhere else, and here I am being called to be put on a stage in public for the world to see. And I had to
Yeah.
move past that fear to move in
I
my
think
life.
what's also incredible about your past is that you have knowledge of multiple religions personally.
Yep.
And that is going to be one of your best weapons
Yep.
when you're talking to people that come from any kind of thread where
Mhm.
that makes sense to them. You'll be able to talk on it because that will be your power.
It's all about control. Religion is all about control of the people, control
Yeah.
over their mind, limit their beliefs, keep them in fear. If you ever
Yeah.
notice that, not all religions, most religions have that aspect where it keeps you in a level of fear or limitless. You're limited in what you can believe or do in whatever religion it is. Not all of them, like I said, but most of them are like that. And they do that like that to keep the structure of control over this earth grid, over the
Yeah.
people, where they can keep that greed, power, and lust dominating, the masculine energy dominating, where they keep you
Yeah.
slaving for the dollar and, not doing introspection, not, you keep you busy on your phones or whatever. And that's the masculine. And it's being shifted into the age of Aquarius and Aquarius ascendant. I think it's funny. We're moving into that, we're coming into the feminine energy. We're shifting from, slavery and being ruled by masculine, archetypes to now feminines are rising in their power. Divine feminines, just like you and me, we're rising in our power, coming into our divinity, and we're going within to do that. And that's guiding the people to do the work within. It's whatever change we need. And I've been saying this, and I'm getting goosebumps saying it now. And this is the most important message. We need to be the change we want to see in the world. You've heard that said before, right? But this goes another level. You have to do the work And it starts within you, each person.
Right.
You got to do
Yeah.
the inner shadow work. You've got to
Yeah.
start digging into your belief systems and uprooting whatever doesn't have truth for you,
Right.
you and your soul. You've got to begin removing toxic people. You got to do all of that work if you want to see that change. If you want to see these wars go away, these people quit fighting over land
Right.
for generations to
Right.
generations. That work starts within each of us. And
Yeah.
until we start really taking that seriously and doing that inner work, and it's hard. Ego doesn't want to do it. Ego will find
Right.
ego mind will find every excuse in the book. Oh, we don't have time. Oh, I gotta post this thing, or I gotta go. You know,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
happens to me. I still deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm still human, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Like y'all know, you're not alone. It's a daily struggle, right? But when you
Yeah.
feel you start having people tell you, you're saying that 3 and 4 times in this conversation, that's a cue from spirit. You need to look at that.
Yeah.
As long as when you take those cues, you stop and you set aside the time by yourself to do that work until you feel you've expressed whatever needs to come out and work through it and make the changes, nothing's really going to change in your life. But you'll notice some changes on the outside that I've already noticed huge changes energetically. I've shifted timelines, even in the last week since I've done that work. Things are now manifesting a little quicker for me. Things are coming into my finances are starting to reflect it. It's amazing what you think a little bit of emotional raise. It was a good 45-minute, crying,
Right.
sobbing like a baby, to getting it out. And it was all
Yeah.
related to my worthiness wound of I'm not worthy of abundance because that was an
Yeah.
ancestral curse placed on my family from lineage and stuff. And not only that, there's a witch wound on my mother's side. I'm now learned that's where my gifts come from. It's my mother's side. And I do believe my grandmother is with me as one of my guides. And there's a druid connection up through there too. So
Right.
I'm directly related to Celtic druids. So there's a very much a Celtic, and my divine masculine is Irish. So there's a lot of ties there for us in different, you know, alchemical symbols. I was drawn to those. I didn't even know why until I found out
Yeah.
I had a past life as a druid. I was like a wit, what they call them, like a pagan, I don't know, like a priestess or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah. Right.
My divine masculine was whatever, the druid version of that is. I'm still learning about that stuff, but I was drawn to Egyptian symbols, Eye of Horus. The Ankh was given, a gift was given to me by one of my starseed friends early on in my journey, not long after I got my past life regression over 7 years ago, of an Ankh, an Egyptian Ankh. I didn't really understand how important that was, but I kept seeing it
Yeah.
after that. I kept seeing the Ankh, and then it was related to my past life as an Egyptian high priestess. Now those gifts are starting to come back to me and being reflected and showing me this is part of your path. You're reawakening those gifts
Yeah.
as a seer, as a dream interpreter, as a grid worker, whatever, divine knowledge and given and to help people, help the community and wake people up. Like that's the knowledge of ancient is starting to come back, and people are starting to be
Yeah.
activated, and their old knowledge is starting to come back to them as they ascend. And so that's going to be needed for the new earth, for the generations after us. We're going to have to start that process. Like you're saying, you have the vision of this storefront and this place that basically is like a therapy place for people to connect back with nature, right?
Right.
That's what we need to move into. We got to shift away from the technology because the technology is getting too ahead of us, and that will destroy
Yeah.
it. We have to keep
Yeah.
that balance between technology and spirituality. It has to be a balance there. Again, another polarity. If you've learned anything about the 12 laws of the universe, you heard about those, or 7 laws?
No.
7 laws.
Uh-uh.
Look into that. That's something that I got channeled through on a divine message that I type out my channelings. I don't handwrite. I can't do the handwriting thing. I type all day long. So I type like 70 words a minute, So I just sit there and I listen to like singing sound bowls. I was always guided to singing sound bowls for some reason. It's just the frequency. And I channel.
Right.
I just start typing, and then stuff starts flowing.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
amazing.
amazing the stuff that comes out. And I've actually connected with Agarthans and Earth people. I've connected, and yep, they're guiding me and helping me with the grid work and stuff like that I need to be doing. And so there's so many things that have come out specifically about my twin flame journey. And one of those things is like what I was talking about, like we're getting into moving into that realm of, hey, we got to start opening up these businesses that are going to be needed for the future. You know, people need to connect back with nature. Let's guide them away
Right.
from the technology and connecting back with nature. Why do you think granite countertops became so popular?
I don't know.
Granite has like a crystalline structure, right?
Yeah,
And
true.
Mother Earth guided people to become more, right? So
Aha.
we've
I've
got
never thought of
more
that.
we've got more like crystals and marble in people's houses now.
Yeah.
We got granite. You know, you're seeing a lot more of that here lately. There's reason for
Yeah.
everything that happens.
Yeah.
Mother Earth is always helping guide us. She's the living being too, and we got to help her out because we're destroying her right now and we're destroying each other.
Right.
And we're going
Yeah.
to continue down that path until we change, from within. And she's going to send with us. That's part of the process. This has never been happened before. Like where a planet and the species, evolving on it goes at the same time. So it's like a joint effort. We're all connected. All the cosmos are connected. All the planets are connected energetically. When there's a bomb that goes off on Earth, it affects solar systems down. They're all
Yeah.
connected. The Earth,
Yeah.
you'll see a reaction with the sun. You'll see a reaction with other planetary bodies in some level. And then the other dimensions are also connected to this dimension. So they feel
Yeah.
the effects of the atomic bomb. That's when they were like, we got to go fix something here because it's
Yeah.
affecting all these different dimensions and we got to
Right.
stop this. Like, we're going to
Right.
have to do something. And that's when the call went out for everybody to, who's going to go volunteer to incarnate and help break these cycles and help, change the trajectory of the timeline. And that's
That
why we're
makes so
here.
much sense.
Mhm.
That makes so much sense.
Yep.
There was something that you touched on that, okay, so the last flight I was on, I started talking, and I don't know where this came from, but I said, it was talking about that same theme of getting in touch with nature because that's so much a part of my message. But then I also said, we don't need to be worried about how much your mortgage is or where you're living or your fake Facebook profile.
Mhm.
I said, Facebook photos are all fake lives. I said, most people go on there, they post a picture that makes it look perfect, and then you're supposed to be jealous of the life that person is
Yeah.
living. But I can tell you that is a fake life.
Yep.
And I said, it's that kind of crap that has got to stop. You shouldn't be worried about one-upping everybody
Right.
and,
Keeping up with the
trying to
Joneses, the nice
yeah,
house, nice
trying to keep
cars.
up with,
I was there too.
yeah,
I'm still breaking those cycles right now. I mean, I'm especially this last year letting go of the need to have the nice car, have, oh, look at me, like I'm still
yeah, exactly.
working on letting
Yeah.
those things go. So, and I'm becoming more
It's
happier. The crazy thing is, as I'm doing that, I'm actually becoming more fulfilled.
okay, so
The
you had
awesome
touched on
part of it.
this.
Yeah.
You had touched on this earlier when you said you felt the need to eat healthier. Oh my God,
You're
that has
intuitively
started.
guided to do that as part of the ascension journey. Your
That has started.
vibration is very much affected by what you ingest, both food wise, what you watch, what you listen to,
Yeah,
music, all of it affects you energetically. And the more that we can stay on a higher frequency by what like limiting what certain things we listen to, people we're around that are negative,
right.
the news, whatever, social media, that's another one.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
more that we can limit our exposure to those things and come back to self and spending time alone with yourself and with nature, the more that we connect with that divine part of ourselves and we begin to stay in a higher vibration. Part of that is changing our eating habits. You
yeah,
know, we're not supposed to be eating meat. I'm just going to flat out say it. I love
yeah.
meat, and I hate to say that,
Oh, me
but
too.
I love animals, and I don't like killing
Right.
animals. I don't like it. But I know that eventually we're going to be called to move it to a vegetarian diet, eat vegan, whatever, where we're limiting
Yeah,
that. And I know I'm being guided more away from red meat, the heavier meats that keep are more dense, that lower your vibration. It's actually harder for your body to digest it, honestly.
true,
You could still
true.
get those nutrients from a specific diet. And I'm guided more towards fish, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So like salmon and, you know,
Yeah.
other like mahi and things like that. I'm not, it's yes, it's more expensive, but I'm actually guided to eat that more that way, but mostly vegetables and like
Yeah.
avocados, big time avocados, seeds, nuts, celery. I started learning more about herbology. I started incorporating like, this is the crazy thing. I didn't even realize how much things in our cabinet, our spice cabinet, you can actually ingest by itself and it'll help heal your body from
Yeah.
within. Cloves are one of those things. Whole cloves, you can chew one a day and it has tremendous effect on your internal body. And I think it was Dr. Berg, I can't remember his name. He's a great guy on YouTube that I found very informative about natural ways to heal inflammation in the body. I think he's like a chiropractor in DC. But I started doing smoothies. I started noticing a huge difference in the way I felt. I was connecting more. I was fasting more, like without, you know, solid food or whatever. I was just, my
Right.
vibration has just like Jesus needed less and less sustenance,
Right.
food
Yeah.
sustenance as I ascended. I've got all this extra energy now. And I'm like, God, what do I do with all this energy? Well, you
Yeah.
create.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
create and you begin to eat and live it more intuitively. You go with the flow of spirit. You go, that's what Jesus did. He walked from town to town being guided by the spirit. He never knew where he was going to stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody always, and I always told myself, oh, I wanted to be like Jesus. You know, I wanted to be like, have this power and be able to just not have a care in the world, just trust in God like the birds, you know, they don't know where their food's going,
Right.
but it shows up. And I now see myself slowly moving into that, you know, walking in the flow of spirit and
Yeah.
things just, the people and this things come to me and it just shows up at the perfect time, divine timing. And it's
Yeah.
amazing to me just because I started doing the work on myself that I'm now
Yeah.
manifesting this stuff and getting past these limiting beliefs. And this stuff is actually coming in my 3D life, like money showing up in my account. Like, you know, that's been a huge thing is that abundance.
Yeah.
Lack mindset, the staying and complaining about, I don't have money for this, blah, blah. You got to change your words. Number one,
Yeah.
you gotta change your belief about it because there is money. There's infinite money we can create ourselves. We are co-creators.
Right. Right.
We just have to start speaking it more and speaking less of complaint of lack and just changing our habits. It's all about changing the habits in your belief systems. And it starts by
Yeah.
speaking and then believing and thinking and catching yourself in the act and then stopping it. Retrain your brain. You create a new habit. And as you slowly do those things, you start to send more and more and more, and you start to see it manifested more and more because you're detaching from the outcome. You don't know where it's going to come from. I get random
Right.
checks in the mail from a Verizon lawsuit or something I forgot all about, right? Random stuff happens. And like, or like my tax return. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, gosh, I wish I could be. I live paycheck to paycheck currently up until now.
Right.
I say that specifically that way. But I'm trying to move past that right now. But I can tell you, there's been times, thank goodness, that the money came through right at the right time. I needed tires, I
Right.
needed a water leak in my house, whatever. And I didn't know where the
Right.
money's going to come from. I didn't want to put it on another charged up credit card I'm trying to pay down. And boom, that day or the day before, the day next day, there was a direct deposit hit my bank. And it was my state tax return that I thought I got months ago. And it was 6 months late.
Wow.
And it was plenty of money
Okay.
and I could put
Well,
money aside. And I was like, wow, I'm just
that's
saying,
divine intervention.
that's right. And so you
Yeah.
start retraining yourself to get out
Yeah.
of lack mentality and complaining about your lack and only seeing lack. Don't look at the bank account. Don't I
Yeah.
actually check my bank account less now than I did 2, 3 weeks ago. All because I
Yeah.
started doing more inner work and changing those
Yeah.
belief systems. And now I'm seeing it manifest. There's more money in my account. There's more money showing up in my account. I'm like, I don't know how it's coming from, but it's there. My bills are paid. So I think just
Well,
detaching from the outcome and detaching from the 3D reality, it really helps, you know, doing that. But doing that, and it's 1:44 a.m.
oh my God. Okay, so I was going to say this.
I see that every
The
day.
more the more I get into this, the happier I am internally. It brings me joy. And you were talking about when you want to be busy. I would do a video every freaking day if I could,
Mhm.
because that's my passion to do it. And I keep getting these like ideas of, okay, well, now add this to a video or say this in a video to be able to get the message, keep getting the message out there. But yeah, for me is if I could, it would be, let's create a video every freaking day.
Yeah.
And, just play with the videos all day long, just do that every single day. But that's not reality. I mean, I can't do that in reality because, I have to show up for work every once in a while.
Right. I got 2 jobs, so.
Yeah. So
and a daughter. So.
But I've noticed my outlook has changed differently since I began the journey.
Mm-hmm.
I think once I had my watershed moments originally in my therapy / prayer meditation, that's what that catalyst happened because of that, is I was able to have that breakthrough in a very safe place with a safe group that I knew me, and they were rooting for me. I'll tell you one of the things that did make me cry a lot is when I was told about the kingdom spouse. And so I had to look it up. I was like, what the heck does that mean? And then when I was like, oh my God, literally. So someone's being chosen for me because of this last karmic cycle that I finally closed. And now there's not going to be another one after this. So I don't know what this life is going to hold going forward because I've never experienced it. I've never experienced not having something to worry about like that. So now I don't fear anything because I know whatever happens is divinely guided.
Right.
I just have to be patient. That's the hard part, is to be patient.
Oh, let me tell you. Okay. That's my
I want to know now.
Right. That is like biggest for me.
Yeah, I know. That's it right there. Being patient. Yeah.
I guess because we're our souls, we coming in, we're used to on the other side manifest it instantly. I feel like that's part of it. And we come over here, we're like, God, everything's so slow. When's it gonna come? Like I've been manifest for months. It's so different over here. And it's so dense. It's like trudging through a bog, like you said, like a bog. You're like trying to. What was that movie in The Never-Ending Story? You remember when it was Atreyu was trying to walk his horse that was like about to die, get sucked.
Okay, think about it. The reader was on his journey.
Yep.
Did not realize his
I just get goosebumps.
He was manifesting the whole time.
Yep.
That's all that movie is about.
And he started freaking out because they heard his name and they were speaking his name. And
yes.
Me? And then she showed up. Like, yeah. Like, that's crazy. But again, these movies have been seeded in our consciousness for so many years. And we were unawakened spiritually to that level, to see those concepts. And now we see them. Like when I watched that with her, I'm guided to now go back and watch these movies from the 80s that I grew up watching as a kid with my daughter, because I keep quoting lines from them or whatever. And as I'm watching them I'm seeing even, I'm like, what? And I'll stop the movie and I'll pause it. I'll be like, oh my God. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like right there with me. Like she is definitely like on a higher level. She came in for a reason. And so she's picking right up on all those spiritual stuff. The 3D stuff she struggles with. That's how I know she's one of those, I guess they call them the diamond children or whatever. She's got autism, she's got, ADHD. I've got ADHD, but she's got another level of it. It's like shifting away from these ego masculine, structure systems, and she came more spiritually enlightened, just like I kind of was. But she's coming in already awakened at a certain level to help activate me and to help and we had to I had to traumatize her. I could go through my things and traumatize her in certain ways. So because I was unawakened and I was struggling myself with unhealed wound, and I had, all kinds of things going on that I was praying God to help heal me, and I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah. And
so she came in to help guide me through my awakening and my healing with her heart chakra open and loving unconditionally, and didn't have all that stuff that I came in and dealt with, as a kid.
Right.
And so now I'm helping to activate her. So it's amazing how the soul contracts work. And now that I'm enlightened enough to it, I can actually see how it's evolved over the last even in the last 3 years. And I've ascended so quickly, like through a lot of trauma from releasing all those emotions. And I'm having less and less like outbursts of anger outbursts, because that was the thing
Yeah.
I struggled the most with, was trying to control how she did, how everything looked, how she brushed her hair, how she, cleaned her room,
Yeah.
how she, it was the control again, letting go of the need to control the outcome, how it looked, and that I'm still in that process of learning it. But I've come so far in the last 2 years of letting go more and more and more of that need to control her, and our relationship has started to become the healing, and it's just amazing me. We had the most amazing connection point, and I know we got to get going here in a minute, but I just wanted to share that for people that do have kids. Like, it's amazing to me, as you ascend, you're helping them like ascend with you, and so you're helping
Right.
those family curses that have been on our family for cycles and stuff that have been on our
Well,
families as you're
and
doing.
think about, you're giving her a leap forward instead of having to start like you did with
Right.
a parent where it taught us to shut down and be quiet and
That's
no, we
what
don't do
I
that.
started with her, though. Like,
Right.
even 3 years ago and 2 years ago, I was still in that wounded state of shushing her up to cry. I didn't understand how important it was at that time still to express those emotions. It wasn't until this
Yeah.
last year that I really started to understand the importance of fully getting that, letting her cry and holding her in a safe place and allowing her to process through
Right.
that emotion until she feels better, and not shut her up, not dismiss it, not, shut it down, or say, put your big girl panties on, like, like I started,
Right.
I was telling her back in the day.
Yeah.
And her dad, is still in that wounded state, and he lives with his parents, and they're like that too. And so she's getting it over there when she's there, when I'm at work during the day, because his mom's her caregiver. She's a homemaker.
Right.
And so she's still getting it over there, but now she's starting to see the polarity, the contrast on my
Yeah.
side, where she's
Yeah.
seeing me transition into, from this wounded state, working through my traumas, releasing these emotions,
Right.
and how it's okay and safe to do it. And now she's seeing the outcome of our relationship evolving and healing itself through that. And I think that's just amazing to me to see that.
That's amazing. And she will be able to better counteract what she's getting at her grandparents.
Yep.
Because what she's growing with you.
Mm-hmm.
And she will connect the dots about how to deal with that effectively in her own way.
Right.
Just like we all have to. But you're giving her this huge, especially if you've been talking about this has been at least in the last year,
Mm-hmm.
you've been able to cover a lot of ground in a year because you're seeing real world, how this is how she's doing it now versus before, and how you are now versus before.
Right.
And that should give you a lot of love in your heart for how you've developed as a parent and while you're undergoing this process. So it's really hand in hand.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing them both at the same time. I mean, it may not feel like it, but it's all connected anyway. I mean, because you can't get all this information and understand it at this level and it not affect all aspects of your life, especially your children.
Oh, yeah.
So think about the contrast to how your mother would have had an opportunity to do this with you, but she had a different path. It was a different generation, and that would not have been probably accepted at all.
Yeah.
And now you're the next generation, and you're being able to do this, even if it's later than you would have wanted to start it, you're going through it now.
Yep.
And then your daughter will be even a better version of that in her generation when she has kids.
Right.
So think it's that stair step. It's just one step after the other. And it's like you're doing it fluidly, even though maybe you might beat yourself up and say, well, why didn't I do this, sooner or whatever? Well, because it's not your timeline.
Right.
Your timeline is
it's still all in divine timing. And when your soul is ready, it knows when it's ready.
Yeah.
And you're intuitively guided to do things. And it brings you those peoples and those experiences to trigger you into that.
Well, and it's just like when you were talking about your sister was a lifetime of karmic that got help at the last stage that she could. And look how she turned herself around. And so you're you're really
He's trying to
blessed
do like
because you're
5
able,
businesses at the same time now.
yeah, you're
Like,
blessed
he
because
went
you've
from
got,
0 to like 500 and blew me
yeah.
away.
But hang on, you're being able to do this with your daughter and your sister, and you're starting on your stepmom. So think of your ripple effect. That's your ripple effect. You're the ripple, and you're moving out.
I'm trying to help my
And
brother
your
with the
ripple
little I
effect goes
can too.
further, 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 and further out. So the more people you can touch by your podcast, then your ripple effect comes into a rainstorm to where they change and their ripple effect.
Right.
So it's just like thinking of it as a water on asphalt, and when it hits it, all the ripples just kind of blend together and form this beautiful mosaic of the ripples that are just going everywhere. That's how I would look at it.
But think about this, you're doing the same thing, but in a different way. So when you're
Yeah,
affecting all these people you come in contact with on these planes, and even when you're doing your excursions, wherever you get off the plane and have a layover at, you're affecting the energy wherever you're at. You're activating with that energy in those places and arc field and all those people know that region. And then everybody you're traveling with, they go to their families, wherever they're traveling, their energy that has been activated by you just from that plane trip is now carrying light codes to activate others into their awakening. We don't even see how far it extends, but that's the purpose of why we travel. A lot of us twin flames travel is to hurry up, spread the activation codes out. We get light codes, we got to pass them on, and everybody that we come and interact with, even if it's just passing by, they come in contact with our aura that activates some light codes within them and their DNA. They go wherever they're at, it activates it's even subconscious. Their soul knows it. Their auric field is already affected. They go activate other people. They don't even know it.
It's weird. You're the only person who's ever said that. It's really weird. But it's only because where you are and you can see it. Because you've got more gifts than anyone I've ever talked to in person that could see it. You can see that other side of it because you're in it.
I've always been able to see the big picture.
It's see the big
for
picture.
me, I got stuck in the details. I go from like one extreme to the other, and it's hard for me to balance out in between and see both. So that's where I'm learning right now to how to do that and to like not go from one extreme to the next and just balance out my energy. And I'm still struggling even this week. I was noticing my energy levels were struggling and my attention and focus on certain things and contacting certain people. Yes, I do a lot of it intuitively, but I think sometimes I get too much in my ego and I think, I get wrapped up in spending time with my new guy friend or whatever, and then I neglect something else. So I'm like, ooh, I got to learn the balance. That's something I channeled from my higher self in the last week. I asked my higher self, what do I need to do instead of going outside of myself to Molly or whoever? I'm now going within. And I'm now beginning to trust my intuition and trust my intuitive guidance more and more to where I asked my higher self and I meditated it, work on my break up there by myself one day. And I filmed it on video just to see what would come out. And I channeled all this specific information, whether it was masculine or feminine, and what chakra it was involved with, and what I needed to work on to come into inner union. And I was like blown away. I'm like, I went back and listened to it like earlier this week. It was like a week later. And I was typing it out, like my little plans, like things I need to work on for shadow work or whatever. I'm like, I don't even remember all of this detail. And I'm going back and listening to it again. I'm like, wow, like everything. And I kept hearing for months and months, everything you need is within you. Quit going outside to readers and stuff. You need to begin trusting yourself. Trust your intuition. This stuff has been giving you confirmation after confirmation from your personal channel and stuff you've channeled through yourself. I've gotten confirmations to personal readings and collective readings and individuals that didn't even know it. And they came to me and said something to me. So it's like, okay, you've got enough confirmation. Get to work. Like, it's like, they're like, do the work. Let's go. Let's go. You don't need any more. It's everything's within you. And I think all of us have to learn that. We all have to learn how to pass ego and surrender and say, I need to just trust my intuition. I need to trust the guidance that I've been given and quit going to readers, quit going at, external validation.
Yeah, you're 100% spot on because I had to cut off how many I was listening to because it got
Me too.
insane. And I thought, okay, enough of this. I was like, no, I got overloaded
Hmm.
into where I shut down everyone
Right.
except the ones that were the most reliable,
Right.
consistent, or offered a different perspective than another one would. So, like, if I want to play the game of let's listen to three, and if they all do their reading within the same 24 hours, I should see consistencies in
I
all
did
of
see the
them.
consistency too. I did see that.
And I do. So that's how I weeded them down to like six.
And most of them
And then
don't,
I'm
like
like,
the ones that we watch. I can tell you this because I already know this intuitively. The ones that we are guided to watch are the ones that don't watch other people's channels. That's how you know they're real. If you
that's
go back and
funny.
you talk to them, they're like, I don't watch other people's channels. They'll tell you that. And you know they're telling the truth
Yeah,
because
because
you
you
have a
would
lie
be
detector,
prone
right?
to, yeah.
You ever notice that? You just ask them, just if you do happen to talk to them personally, ask them if they watch other people's channels. And the ones that we are usually, when we work past to that certain part of our journey of work, starting to
Yeah.
work out of the obsessive energy of watching a
Yeah.
million tarot readings, and we start
Right.
honing in and we're slowly like narrowing it down, and then eventually we won't need it anymore. It
Right.
serves its purpose. You know, Molly, all of them, they're there for a reason. Yes, it's
Exactly.
part of our journey. It is needed at a
Right.
certain level to kind of get us to ascend and get us to a certain level of trust in ourselves. But it's only for a time and a place. It's only for a season. And we're
Right.
expected to get off the tit and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then start feeding yourself, okay, with
Yeah.
your own guidance. That's it's
Yeah.
just a stepping stool. And so it served its purpose. And I keep having to remind myself, quit going to the reading. Like it's
Yeah.
that push energy, you still want to check in every once in a while. And so I'm slowly moving out of it, but I still see myself, every 2 to 3 days, I check in for a reading or two for my favorite readers. I told you I've had hit after hit at very specific hits,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Molly. And it's like, I'm like, okay, I'm reminded by my
She's,
intuition, get back
yeah.
to work. You're getting back to obsessive and push energy. You need to start focus on
Yeah.
yourself. You have all this within you. What are you doing?
Yeah. The interesting thing is in my head, I've got my end date is when he shows up, that's when that cycle starts. And that's when I know everything, I'm going to put everything into motion. So, like what you're saying, you got to wean yourself off. So, the six I have, I don't listen to six anymore. I do two and two, and or I'll start into one. And if it's not, I'll know immediately if it's not relevant. And I'll just,
Oh, me
okay,
too.
I'm not going
I've
to,
got to what level intuition. I'm like, oh nope.
that's not it. I heard
I
that
can
before.
read. I can scroll and I read it, and I instantly know, nope, not for me.
Yeah,
Like, and I
there's
didn't used to be
some
that way. Not even 2 months ago, but like that.
Yeah, there's some that I used to subscribe to that I haven't. I've pulled away because they're off kilter. They're
Yeah,
not on the path that they need to be with the ones that are honestly
and
really
they're on their
into it.
own path. That's
Yeah.
just the way they chose to express themselves
Yes.
and learn in that
Yeah.
path. That's their own timeline
Yeah.
they're on. So again,
Yeah.
you got to get out of the whole. And I don't say this at you. I'm talking about everybody needs to get out of the whole
Yeah.
ego way of looking at things and pointing the finger and judging, because we're all on our own journey, and our own journey
Yeah.
looks different to everybody. And we're not here to
Exactly.
judge because we're all one.
Yeah.
That's just you in another body expressing itself
Right.
differently. You got to think about it like
Right.
that. It's hard, but because ego mind didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
it didn't understand that. But you
Yeah.
just got to know that, and as you said, you start seeing that more and more, and you start moving into that more and more as you do the work. But
Hmm.
it's just you being expressed in a different body. And then you look at it like that,
Yeah.
when somebody just come at you with negativity and projects their wounding on you because your light is triggering them in some way, you hadn't even say anything. A lot of times they just come at you,
Exactly.
and you're like,
Exactly.
I have a choice to jump right into ego and snap back and give
Right.
them and set them straight, or I could just sit back, let them do their thing, and be like, okay, you're just a very
Yes.
wounded person. Let me tell you, that part is hard.
Yeah.
That takes a level of mastery over your ego and your emotions, and that's what I want to do. That's where I want to get. That's my goal, is to get to the point where you're
Yeah.
like, unaffected. You detach from their energy that they're projecting. You're no longer triggered by it because you've done so much inner healing that there's nothing
Yeah.
to trigger. And then you ascend a level, you see it from a high, from God's level, and you're like, that's a very wounded person.
Yeah.
Wow, they must have a lot of shadow they need to work through,
Yeah.
and
That's
you begin to
exactly how you
see
should look at it.
it.
Yeah.
But it's hard doing that in the moment, I can tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I thoroughly enjoy talking to you, Anthony.
I have too.
I mean, like I said, I know we could talk for days on end, and I would thoroughly
Yeah.
just keep going. I think we should definitely try to talk later if you want to do
We
that.
should do another one because you know what I think would be fun? If you want to come up with like a specific topic that you want to explore,
Yeah.
and maybe you don't have any knowledge of it, or if you want to do like some type of a project from your channel,
Yeah.
and you'll have a group that you can go to. Because, all right, like you, I have been told to seek out my soul family
Mm-hmm.
because there's a group that will not judge,
Yep.
that will understand,
And collaborate.
and I think, yes, and we're supposed to collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have a dream where I was on stage, but I didn't know what I was saying, and I didn't understand why I was on stage. I just had a dream that
This
was
is
like
a form
that.
of a stage.
That's what I've been trying to get clarification on. And I've been asking that several times in meditation. Is the channel what we're talking about, or is it something else? And it keeps leading me. I keep getting messages about what you're doing is fine, blah, 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 XYZ, it's all fine. Whatever.
Let it evolve.
But
Let it evolve day
think,
by day. Just whatever comes up.
I think though,
yeah.
I love the ability to be on something like this with you because I feed off of energy. Even though we're not together, I'm feeding off of your energy.
Right.
I can feel your energy. I can read your energy. And that's one of the first things that attracted me to you. And I could see this would be really easy. I think we could talk about anything.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't bother us. We could just talk about it. So if you wanted to play devil's advocate and we talk about something that maybe is out there in left field because it's taboo or something.
How about something you've experienced that I haven't, which is, being gay, coming into that in this realm of, what a lot of people happens to people that are born gay in this incarnation, they actually are born into religious families. You are different. Yeah. That's what the difference. That's different than what a lot of the stories that I hear is usually they're born into a religious family that rejects that part of them, and they got to work past that. For you, it was like the opposite. You were born, but it wasn't religion. You chose religion because you were drawn to it. So I think that's a very interesting perspective too.
There's also the part. Didn't you say before we were recording that you saw spirits? Or you knew someone that saw spirits?
It's the new guy friend that came in.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So
he has seen them from the time he was young. And he just told me this. We've been talking for over a month. He just told me this like a few days ago. I was like,
you could do this.
You haven't told me. That's cool. I was like, I want to know about that.
You could, so I'll give you the format for it, and this is what we could definitely do. Okay, so when I was brought to Texas as an infant, I was in a crib in my parents' bedroom because the house wasn't big enough for me to have my own bedroom. So I was there until I got a bedroom. My crib was on a wall where their closet was, and I faced their bed. Across from me, there was a 3/4 bathroom. This is a house built, I think, in the 60s. There was a 3/4 bathroom where the door was always kept open with the light in the bathroom on. I was always put to bed early and the door was shut. Every single night when the door was shut and I was alone in there, I could see across from me a dark shadow.
Oh, he's seen those too. Oh, wow, he's seen them too. Yep, the shadow being.
And a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
They were always together. There was never one without the other. Now, so as an infant, I thought the dark shadow was evil.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the white shadow was an angel. I don't know what the white one was. It was just a shape.
Probably a spirit guide or an angel. It could have been, yeah.
much like the same shape I saw as an adult in my dream with Jesus. So
Oh
it
yeah.
was like a shape. But the dark one had more of a, it appeared to have a cloak on,
Yeah.
like a, like something like a coat that you would wear over your entire body. But they would move from, if the bathroom light was not on, and I was in the room when it was dark, but they had this massive window that they would keep, the drapes weren't closed. So the moonlight could come into the bedroom as well if they had the window right there. And if the bathroom light wasn't on by mistake, they could stand in that, not stand, but float in that corner, and they would move across. So they literally moved across the bed to the other side of the room. I kept seeing those two until I was about 7 years old.
Mm.
And at 7 years old, I already had my bedroom, and I felt like I was being groomed to be a vampire
Wow.
because I would get bitten at night and I was terrified of going to bed by myself. And I would feel the bite on my neck
Would it show
every,
up like with
it
spots and
did
stuff?
not.
Okay.
It just, I could physically feel it. And so we were the first house off of a 4-lane highway, the first house on the corner of the first street of the neighborhood. So it was like a block away off of this main road. It was a business road. And my bedroom was on the front where there was a porch. So my window overlooked the porch. And sometimes the darkness would be on the porch looking into my
Oh,
window,
wow.
and my bed was right there. And one night I woke up screaming, and my sister came in and she switched rooms with me because she saw it.
Wow.
So I've often wondered what this was, and I've never been able to talk to anybody about it. Even when I've gone through therapy, I've never brought this up. And I thought, okay, is it because did my light
Yeah.
as an infant
Yeah.
pull in a darkness? And was there a guardian there to protect me?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do believe that's what that was. I mean, at least that's what I was picking up on that as you were talking about it. Your light attracts the negative as well as the positive,
Yes,
especially with otherworldly beings, other dimensional beings.
right.
It's like a moth to a flame, or, the bugs to the light. They're attracted. They're pulled towards it. And they know that you can sense them and you can see them. And so a lot of times
So,
it's to instill fear and suck the fear out of you. It's like a loosh. So they
yeah,
feed off of that, like the vampire, like sucking you. It's like a
yeah.
form of sucking your energy out. They
I
feed
thought
on
that's
your
what that,
fear. They feed on your
as
fear,
an
and you were
adult,
also had a protector there. So
yeah, as an adult, I think that's what it was.
it was like
Because I
either
could
an
physically,
earthbound spirit that expressed itself in a shadow being, or it was an otherworldly dimensional being that is more negative polarity, that is trapped in its journey or
right.
whatever. So that's how
Since
they.
I could, since I could feel the bite and they always floated, I am assuming that it was something the outer worldly. That's the only way I could.
Mhm.
That's the only way I could rationalize it. But that's only happened since this awakening.
Mhm.
I've always had the memory, but I didn't understand it until I thought, oh, as an infant, I would have been born with my light,
Right.
and it would have been too bright, and I was not protected because it only happened when I was alone at night.
So
It
you got to
never would have.
remember that we're always protected, even though we don't seem like we're protected sometimes. Certain things are allowed to happen to us for a
Right.
specific reason. So, yes, you did have a protector there, but it still allowed that being to be there to help cause some kind of trauma or something with you to help catalyze that for you later. That's something you had to work through
Right.
there, and they allowed
Oh,
that
hang on.
to
When
work
I
through.
mean when I mean no protector, I mean they left me alone in a room.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
alone.
But
But
I'm
I
talking
could
about
see
spiritually
that.
too. You're always
Right, yeah, that's
spiritually
what I was talking about.
protected.
I think that's what the other thing was, the other entity was. I think that was there to protect. So that's why I think I always saw them together.
Yeah.
That there was always someone there. And I don't know. I think it could have been a generational. Could be. I
Yep.
don't know.
And they are passed down a lot of times, for
Yeah.
that. But just know that your light, they're attracted to your light, and they know that you can see them, and so they're attracted to people that can see them. And again, the negative entities want to trigger the negative emotions of fear. Usually they feed off of the fear energy, the fear, they feed off of it, and so
Yeah.
they're attracted to that. And then the other entities, like the earthbound spirits that get stuck on the earthly realm, you know, in the astral realm, they
Right.
are attracted to you because they know you can see them and you can help them, whatever, relay whatever message to their loved one or help them process through whatever, and you'll pass over to the light. You have a choice whether or not to interact with them. You can learn how to shut that off and say, doors closed, I'm not communicating, and they'll go away. They have to respect your boundaries. But when you're a kid, you're wide open. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know that you're a baby, you know, you don't know that. So you have spiritual protectors. But again, I do believe everything is ordained to happen for a reason, you know, and that entity, whatever they were doing to you, help you needed to work through that, catalyze that, whatever it is that was there for a reason. And again, nothing happens by chance. It's always
Right.
there. I mean, for nothing else, just you telling the story right here, right now, is going to help somebody else realize they're going through the same thing and now they know why. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's,
That's why I think if you wanted to talk on like that as the
yeah,
topic, you've got two people you know already
yeah.
that can speak on, oh yeah, this happened as
My
to
divine
this
masculine
person.
actually had a similar story that he shared with, you know, some friends around whatever at
Right.
work. But and he had a very, so he experienced a negative entity when I think he was a teenager, and like
Mhm.
physically on his vehicle while he was driving home. And it was very
Wow.
vivid to him, like he very detailed. So I mean, he's not the only one that I know of. I mean, I'm not talking to him right now, but
Yeah.
there's more and more people coming to me that have experienced those things. They're now coming to me sharing their stories just because I'm open to that. I don't judge people because now I know it's all real. Like
Yeah.
we experience those things. They're not fake. They're not make believe. We're not crazy. There
Yeah.
is otherworldly beings out there. So they happen for a reason.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you. We need to definitely try to set up something else, you know. Just shoot me an email when we get off here and let me know what your schedule is whenever you feel guided to, like whenever you want to do it. This will
Cool.
probably make about 3 episodes right here. We'll have to split it up.
Cool.
But
It's a
I'm loving
trilogy.
that. I'm loving it, by the way. I'm eating all this up. I love it. This is right
Okay,
there,
it's a
my alley.
trilogy.
This is how I know
Okay.
I'm in my purpose because I've been into this
Okay.
stuff forever.
Okay. We'll be a trilogy.
Right, exactly like Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. The light workers, get it? The light
Yes.
workers, the lightsabers, the swords of truth. Hello?
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
I think that's funny. So all of that's divinely orchestrated, this movies and everything. It's so funny. All right. Well, take care. I really, really
Thank
appreciate your
you.
time. And I know we took way longer than we expected, but again, we got to go with the flow, right? That's how
Yeah,
spirit.
I'm gonna go float. It was a blast.
It was absolutely a blast. So like I said, I could continue talking, but we both need to go to bed.
I know. I
I
know.
love it
All
though.
right. All
So
right.
yeah, just keep
Night.
in touch. Let me know what your schedule is, and we'll,
Okay.
fit something in. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Cool.
You have
All
a good
right.
one.
Have a good night.
You too. Thanks. Bye.